and welcome to the Official Watches YouTube channel here in Jardin du Mayfair, heaven on earth for the watch enthusiast. Today I will be showing you a very, very special vintage Patek Philippe Nautilus. It's none other than the 3700 11J050. Guys, just a quick one to say we have hit our 1 year anniversary. Thank you so much to everyone who's joined us so far on the journey, and to everyone old and new, thank you for everything, all of your support so far. Please do hit that subscribe button and I'll keep these coming every week. It would be fair to say that the Patek Philippe Nautilus is the most sought after steel sports watch of my lifetime. It has reigned supreme for the past 40 plus years since its introduction in 1976 and shows no sign of conceding its status anytime soon. Despite being positioned as mortal enemies, the Nautilus shares DNA and the designer with the Audemars Piguet Royal Oak. But you already knew that, right? The Nautilus, named after Captain Nemo's vessel in Jules Verne's famous 1870 novel 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, had its humble beginning in 1974 when it was sketched on a napkin while Gerald Genta, the world's most iconic watch designer, was sitting in a restaurant enjoying his lunch and eavesdropping on a group of Patek Philippe executives who were chatting about the Basel watch fair at a table positioned close to his. It's such a good story, you couldn't make it up. The Royal Oak was on the market as the first luxury sports watch in steel, and Patek, being AP's absolute competitor, needed to respond. Genta took his sketch to the executives, and with his reputation already preceding him, the wheels were instantly in motion. There was a definite seafaring theme to both the Royal Oak and the Nautilus. The Royal Oak was designed with the octagonal shape of a diver's helmet in mind, while the Nautilus was altogether less angular and based on the portholes found in transatlantic cruise liners. The design, with its flowing integrated bracelet, was opulent and indicative of the burgeoning era of combining wealth and leisure. It was a time when sports watches no longer needed to serve a specific tool purpose, such as the Submariner. The new wave was designed to adorn the wrists of those who could afford them and survive any activities that the wearers chose. Essentially, they were lifestyle watches for those who shunned delicate watches from haute horology manufacturers. And, something very important, they had youth appeal. So having fully approved of Genta's napkin drawing and needing to create a model to fight both the quartz crisis and the boom of Royal Oak, Patek Philippe threw caution to the wind and put the Nautilus into production. This was a massive leap for two reasons. Number one, Patek until that point was utterly classical, manufacturing a mixture of pure dress watches and complications such as moon phases and the occasional chronograph. They didn't do water-resistant sports watches, and the only time they ever used steel over precious metals was when either making prototypes or by special order to preferred customers. Their steel watches from that era are so rare that they reach eye-watering figures at auction. Reason number two, at 42mm it was considered huge at the time, the equivalent to a 60mm watch today. Comparatively, the Royal Oak was 38mm, and the industry, which tended to stick to around 34 to 36mm, was only just recovering from the vapours. The Nautilus was so large that its first iteration, the 3700 1A, was actually nicknamed the Jumbo. Patek marketed the watch in direct competition with Audemars, declaring it to be one of the world's costliest watches, and highlighting their use of steel as a sporting material. They were also working on the at-home under the sea and in the boardroom method of marketing. In order to place the Nautilus as a one-watch solution for modern buyers, that was in order to pitch the Nautilus as a one-watch solution for modern buyers. When it was launched, it retailed at $3,100. Yep, that's right, $3,100. Nowadays, for a vintage example, you can expect to pay somewhere between ouch and eye-watering, dependent on condition and completeness. Interestingly, but not surprisingly, the Nautilus appalled the brand's loyal and arguably conservative customers. They couldn't comprehend that their favoured manufacturer of subtle dress watches and elegant complications had just released a steel behemoth with what appeared to be ears growing from the side of its TV screen style case. The perceived youth and thuggery did not go down well at all with the old guard. It was the antithesis of the brand, but also a watch that was, like AP and Royal Oak, the one that would become and remain Patek Philippe's most coveted model. The patented case is a form of a solid monoblock module case and caseback, with the movement inserted via the dial side. On top of that sits a second module composed of the smoothed octagonal bezel, the crystal and the hinged ears continuing the porthole theme for closing the case. These kinds of build are affectionately known as top loaders, as they are assembled from the rear up. It was rated 120 metres of water resistance, which, as you know, is a huge box ticker for me. The Stern Freres manufactured dial of the steel 3700 is a smoky grey colour with a subtle blue, which appeared almost black in some lights and silvery in others. It had hallmark grooves running horizontally and twinned with simple tritium-filled hands and baton markers. The face of the Nautilus was an exercise in magnificent simplicity. The only complication present was a date. As was often the way in the 70s, Patek outsourced the movement to Jaeger-LeCoultre and equipped the 3700 with their ultra-thin 920 calibre, which is only 3.05mm thick and still one of the world's slimmest automatic movements with a full-sized rotor. If you're a follower of the channel, and I hope you are, you may have seen me waxing lyrical about the calibre 920 before, because it also serves as the base for AP's Royal Oak Perpetual Calendar, the ultra-thin RD2. If you haven't seen the video on that watch, please do check it out. Okay, so the tidy little package that we're taking a look at today is not a one-off, but it is a bit rare and different, as it's the Nautilus Jumbo 3700, but it's presented in full yellow gold rather than steel. This watch makes my dreams come true because the blue dial and the patina is just heaven. So here we have it, the reference 3700 11J050, and it's from 1982. It's a member of the OG lineup and is pure Genta design. 42mm monoblock top loading case, full 18 karat gold and super slim. It's the Nautilus in its original form and it's splendid. One thing that I find completely fascinating about the vintage heavy hitters is that quite regularly you see them being produced through multi-company cooperations. This Nautilus, for example, it's a Patek Philippe with a dial manufactured by Stern, a base movement from Jaeger-LeCoultre and a bracelet by Gay Freres. And you know, to my mind, you can't get much better than when the leaders of their respective fields put their talents together to create perfection. The movement in this 3700 is the Patek Ultra Thin Cal 28255 with a JLC 920 base. The dial, oh my goodness, the dial. It's a glorious inky blue with this very specific horizontally embossed striping, and it's topped off with tritium hands and markers which have turned to a lovely eggshell colour that is absolutely beloved of collectors. The dial on this particular watch has maintained its dark blue gloss, which just works so well against the warmth of the yellow gold. If you check out some of the original 3700 dials, many of them have browned over the years and taken on a tropical appearance, ranging from chocolate to golden bronze, which I personally love, but for this one, it has to be the blue for me. Also special about this dial is it shows no degradation, so it's a time capsule treat. It was manufactured by Stern Freres, who are brothers, and latterly Stern Creations, who were founded in 1898 and were one of the most powerful and proficient dial manufacturers in Switzerland. A lot of people tend to equate thick and heavy bracelets as being the optimum configuration on sports pieces, as they work on the weight equals strength and quality theory. A heavier bracelet on the Nautilus would throw the design off balance and would likely lose the supremely comfortable and effortless drape of the slender bracelet in its original and, my opinion, utterly perfect form. As an aside, it may be slim, but it's as secure and as strong as an ox. It might be handy to take this point to talk a little bit about Gay Frères, who supplied both the Royal Oak and Nautilus bracelets, as well as designing and manufacturing for Rolex, Patek, Vacheron, Jaeger, you name it. If it was a big Swiss brand back in the 60s and 70s, it was likely attached to the wrist by Gay Frères. This Patek 3700 Nautilus is not only an absolute legend, but a prime example of what Swiss manufacture has achieved in the 70s and 80s. By working together in a time before everything under the sun was brought in-house, and in-house became a mantra among collectors. Personally, I do prefer the old collab pieces, but I'd be interested to hear your thoughts. So, as ever, for you guys in the chat, it's time to use the comments and tell me what you think. To summarise this watch in words is very difficult for me, but I'm going to give it a go. I think that this is the perfect vintage Nautilus in terms of colour combination, patina, and just a general old school banker that made it vibe. This watch was born before me, and I have to say that one day I really hope to own a watch like this. I think it is tremendous. Meat and potatoes, of course it's a special piece, and it comes in at £205,000. Guys, let me know in the comments what you think of this wonderful piece. Thank you so much for joining me here at Jardin du Mayfair for another special episode. I hope you've really enjoyed. I'm trying to do a mix of modern and vintage, get some cool pieces in there for you guys to see every single week. Please do like, comment, share and subscribe, and I'll keep these videos coming your way.